Celso and Jesus Cardenas are identical twins who were raised together. They remained physically similar as they grew up, but their tastes and interests began to diverge. Celso became interested in dance and academia, while Jesus preferred sports. The most surprising difference between the two brothers is that Celso, wearing black, is gay. The differing sexual orientation of identical twins allows us to investigate one of science's most controversial questions. Are people born gay? Celso and Jesus were raised by the same parents in the same household, so they shared the same environment at a crucial time in their birth. In their first few weeks, all fetuses develop along similar lines. If nothing changed, each one of us would be born female. Fetuses with the male Y chromosome will form testes at about week 6 that produce the hormone testosterone. But at about the 8th week, the testosterone is released and may affect early brain development. Testosterone masculinizes the body. It also masculinizes the brain, including the hypothalamus, which partially controls who we find sexually attractive. Some scientists believe that the more the hypothalamus is exposed to testosterone, the more it sets the stage for a sexual inclination toward women. Occasionally, a male fetus doesn't produce sufficient testosterone, or its brain doesn't absorb enough to shape it along heterosexual lines. If this theory is correct, then it may be that Celso absorbed enough testosterone to masculinize his body, but not enough to fully differentiate his brain. As a result, he was left with a desire for men. Many mysteries remain, but twins like Celso and Jesus play a crucial role in informing scientists about how and when sexuality develops. Epigenetics reveals that even if their DNA code is the same, the way it functions can differ. The human genome contains around 25,000 genes, each with its own specific function, like producing energy or directing cell division. Now, geneticists are investigating a previously unknown aspect of the genome called the epigenome. A series of chemicals that act like switches are capable of activating or deactivating individual genes. One of these switches works by a process called DNA methylation. Enzymes inside a cell attach a minuscule molecular compound, a methyl group, to a gene. This compound can deactivate or at times activate the gene, but the gene itself remains. The cell's DNA profile is unchanged. The activation and deactivation of genes during early development could explain many twists of fate that affect us all. Why one person is struck by disease and another is spared. Epigenetics may also play a significant role in determining sexuality. If sexual preference is associated with an unidentified gene, it may be that the epigenetic suppression or activation of this gene dictates sexual preference. These genetic switches may be the answer to why one twin absorbs more testosterone than the other, resulting in one being gay and the other straight.
We are all born with certain physical characteristics determined by our genes. But does our DNA dictate how we act?
Genes may very well determine how we behave in given situations.
Researchers say they are learning now that genes help control how we interpret our environment.
There has to be some kind of innate circuitry in place that allows us to create culture and acquire culture and do the learning.
But can environment influence which genes are triggered?
What really matters is which genes are turned on and which genes are turned off. And different genes are turned on and off in different circumstances.
That leads to debate over the role parents play in influencing their children.
Parents aren't the only aspect of the environment. There's also the surrounding culture.
Some believe the stronger social influences happen outside the home.
Children live in separate worlds, and each world is very important, but there's very little carryover from one world to the other. And what is carried over is whatever is genetic.
Controversial author Judith Rich says how well a child turns out is up to the child, not the parent. Others find that troubling.
It would encourage parents to be either passive or hopeless or helpless in the face of certain challenges that they would assume were genetic.
As the debate rages, what's clear is that as scientists study DNA, they are learning more about ways to fight disease and perhaps understand better what makes us tick. I'm Dr. Dina Dunn.
That's been the case for mongrel mob daughters Alexia and Selena. This is their story. Selena and Alexia are twin sisters. Their father was a lifetime member of the mongrel mob in Porirua, and the girls were born into the gang. But their story has an interesting nature versus nurture twist. The twins were separated when they were 4 months old. Alexia was sent away to live with her grandparents, and Selena stayed with her mother and father. She has a criminal record and has been in teenage girl gangs. Alexia is a young mum with ambitions to have a professional career. She has gang associations through her family, but no direct involvement. The twins were reunited for the first time when they were 5.
Oh, yeah. It was freaky as. It was weird. Yeah, like, what happened? We went back to Waiwaho, that's where my grandparents are from, and we went back there, and then my mum and dad, yeah, my mum and Will and her turned up, and I was playing outside, and then my older brother Will was going, Selena, Selena, and I was like, oh, who the hell are you? And then she goes, don't talk to my brother like that, and I was like, who the hell are you? And we were like, oh my god, you look like me.
I used to be jealous of Alexia. Like, can we swap lives? Please. I've been living with Nance for 1 year.
So now she's going to get another cook out of the cupboard. Is that all right?
My Nan's not mad cook. She can't cook.
It was hard when Alexia used to leave, though.
Yeah, that was real hard, especially being twins. You've got that connection.
But I used to be jealous.
That's why we really do hate our parents. Oh, we don't hate them. We
just don't understand why they decided to do that.
Split twins
because my dad decides to blame it on my mum. And that would have been the most hardest thing to do, like giving one of your daughters away.
Yeah, but she was like, give me away.
Yeah.
She gave me like the best life possible for my
out of your children.
Yeah, because we're different.
Yeah, good life now. No, my mum gave her a good life.
Despite her reservations about her parents splitting up twins, Alexia is well aware her upbringing had many advantages over that of Selena and her brothers.
Peach. You like peach?
They've been raised all right, just not enough encouragement.
I would say loving.
Not enough encouragement, and not enough, loving, and not enough discipline. They've been disciplined in the wrong way, with violence. Or with my grandparents, they disciplined me with, if you don't do this, then you don't get that, or, stuff like that. With my man, if you don't do this, you get hiding.
She didn't have our father around her. Our father's influence.
Yeah, I didn't even know how to swear until I moved here.
Yeah.
Straight up, I didn't even used to swear. Was so innocent. I wasn't that innocent, but I'll flip that, But since I've moved here and started going back up to Astrolabe quite a bit, I'm like, oh, fuck this, fuck that. I go back to Middlepara, back to my nan, she's like, I beg your pardon?
or come home from school or something, and there's no tea or anything, and it's like 9 o'clock. You're like, fucking hell, does anyone fucking get in this house? And you walk around, and you know, my dad's just like, well, you got fucking home in the mix, cook your own fucking food. Yeah.
One time we got left for about 3 weeks. No, about 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks. No food in the house. We were just party hard.
Like, even our mates come over and bring food and shit. And they'll just live there. And we're pretty hard, but, you know, never smash windows or anything.
No, it was like respect.
Like, yeah, pretty much.
Miranda, are you going to smile? Are you going to smile for Mama?
The first 5 years of life is one of the most remarkable time spans in the whole life cycle.
Are you a happy baby?
The transformation from the uncoordinated bundle of wants and needs that is the newborn infant to the running, talking, socially aware, and boundlessly curious 5-year-old is truly a wonder to behold. Hello, I'm David Elkind, and in this film we're going to explore the intellectual development that takes place during the first 5 years of life. Jean Piaget viewed the environment as relatively passive. To him, it provided the nourishment for mental growth. It was the child who actively constructed reality out of his or her experience with the environment. In contrast, Vygotsky argued that the environment, particularly the human interactions of parents and teachers, plays an active and necessary role in the child's construction of social and physical reality. More simply, for Piaget, development is from the egocentric to the sociocentric, whereas for Vygotsky, just the reverse holds.